What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Dissect That Film, where we dissect your favorite films, film franchises, and now TV. Today is a new episode of Dissect That Film Fresh Cuts, where we sit down and we talk about new release movies that have come out within the last couple weeks, or pretty much new releases. Today we are talking about Ghostbusters Afterlife, and to talk about this wonderful movie with me is the wonderful DNA Gaming, Dan and Angela. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Do you like the title? Do you like the name of the show?
I like that.
For everybody listening, we literally just heard at the moment. He told us nothing.
I didn't.
Like I told him, he just has us show up. He's like, just show up, watch this movie. We're not telling you shit.
Just talk about stuff. Literally, this was something that I had come up with not that long ago.
I dig it. It makes sense with what we do.
Yeah. So this is our second time doing this type of show. We did Halloween Kills last month. It was under a different name, but it will be changed to Fresh Cuts as we go along. The next time we do this type of show will be when we all get together to talk about Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, which we'll try to get within the next week or so. But today we're talking... Sorry, go ahead.
Where can we watch that?
In theaters.
I don't have our theater doesn't carry it.
Oh. Well, we'll have to figure something out.
We'll figure something out.
We'll talk about that at another time. But today, yes, we're talking about Ghostbusters Afterlife, and I have been waiting a whole week to talk about this movie because, god damn, I loved it so much. This movie came out originally, the first time it was ever shown in full was August 23rd, 2021 at CinemaCon, which I'm so jealous. I wanted to be there. And then, but its full release was November 19th, 2021. It came in at 2 hours and 5 minutes, which just, to me, wasn't long enough. Budgeted at $75 million, and currently on Wikipedia, it is telling me it is at $115.8 million. But it's still going. But that might not be an accurate number at this very moment. That's just what Wikipedia is telling me right now. This was directed by Jason Reitman, the son of the original director of the original two Ghostbusters, Ivan Reitman, who did play as a producer. This was also, I don't know what I was going to say there. This stars Finn Wolfhard, Mckenna Grace, and the sexiest man on earth, according to People Magazine, Paul Rudd.
Yes. Just date ourselves with that comment.
So yeah, let's go around and let's talk about what we thought of this movie before we go into like spoilers. We're not going to spoil anything for a little bit. We're going to do non-spoilers at the start of this show, and then we will cut into spoilers and we'll let you all know when we're going to get to that point. So, DNA Gaming, what did you think of Ghostbusters Afterlife? Or Ghostbusters 3 Afterlife? That's what it's called. Okay, people?
Officially official now.
Yes.
Yes.
It's not a spin-off title. This is a mainline entry.
And I just want to say, before you guys get into your thoughts, this is the second film that we've reviewed on this channel that has a subtitle of Afterlife.
That is true. And this one, I'm assuming, was a lot better than that.
Oh,
one.
yes. Very much. Okay.
I think it's a fair statement. Go ahead, dear.
There's nothing bad to be said about this one. All the characters, great. I can't say anything without spoiling it.
No, it's so hard. I don't know how shows can do these like 20-minute non-spoiler episodes. It's like, I just want to talk about everything. Okay.
Yes. I can say that there were almost tears at one point. Lots of laughing. But overall, great. Loved it. Definitely would want to watch it again.
Oh, man. Dan?
Building up to it. Anyway, I liked it. It was a very enjoyable movie. One of the things I really enjoyed about this film, as far as just from a filmmaking standpoint, is the cinematography.
Yes.
I really liked how, if you watch a lot of blockbuster films, everything looks so clean and sterile and bright. most of the time, and this movie didn't feel that way. Like, of course there were shots, but it felt it just felt like the whole film just felt more grounded.
Yeah.
Like location, how everything was shot, small town. I mean, that's not really spoilers of the trailer, but just everything that was just in the film
Right.
just felt more grounded, more intimate to these people. Not this big grandiose thing that 95% of big movies that come out are like these days. I like the writing felt naturalistic. It didn't feel hammy or over the top, as again some films do. I liked it. It was good, and the use of a lot of practical effects.
Yes.
Jokes.
The what?
The jokes.
The jokes. There were some good jokes. There were some bad jokes.
No, they were all great.
Always. There's always going to be a mix.
It was quality. I enjoyed it. From just without spoiling it. There's some other stuff too, but that's later.
Yeah, when we get into full spoilers, we'll go into all that stuff. I love this movie. I am a huge Ghostbusters fan, and I'm kind of sad I don't have a Ghostbusters shirt, as big of a fan I am of this franchise. And if you guys don't know, this won't be the only Ghostbusters film we talk about. Oh, look, we got a little DNA right there. We're keeping that in the show, unless you want me to cut that.
No, she's
No, it's
fine.
just fine.
She's just her witch hat with her wand.
Yeah.
Staff.
So yeah,
She's been the queen today.
oh,
Yeah.
adorable. But yeah, I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan. I've watched the original 2 so many times I can't even remember. I love the way this film looks. I love the Mckenna Grace, who plays the main character, Phoebe. She is phenomenal. She has been in so many things the last year. She was in Handmaid's Tale season 4, which is bonkers to think about. She literally has played probably the child version of a lot of superheroes in movies. I know she was like child version of Carol Danvers in Captain Marvel, and there's been other. She's done so much. She's a fantastic actress, and I can't wait to see what she does going forward. Paul Rudd, of course, I love Paul Rudd. I feel like this man can't do anything wrong. Everything that he's in just, to me, feels great. The only thing I think that I just had a problem with was you couldn't give him a better name. It was such a bad name.
Yes.
And we'll get into his actual name in this film when we go into spoilers, but his name's still bad. And that was the only thing that really irked me. Was like, really, you could have given him a better name. But that was.
We both looked at each other and we're like,
that's
what?
a name.
But that's the
Gary
thing.
Gruberman, whatever his name is.
That's okay.
Let's just say it.
That's okay.
Oh, it's the character name.
Yeah. We're not spoiling anything.
Gruberson.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, and I think the thing that I love the most that a lot of people aren't in love with is the fact that people are really mad that this is like a very fan servicey movie. That's the point. We haven't had Ghostbusters in a core Ghostbusters film since 1989. In my entire lifetime, we haven't had a new Ghostbusters of this from the original continuity since before I was born. Like, yes, I don't care. Give me all that fan service bullshit. I don't care. These people who are really mad about that, I feel like it's such a stupid thing to complain about.
Which that doesn't make any sense, because if they were going to complain and say it was a fan servicey film, there's actually a lot of this film that doesn't feel like other Ghostbusters movies. In fact, this movie doesn't feel like a Ghostbusters movie for a lot of it, but that's a good thing.
Right.
I mean, not saying Ghostbusters movies are bad, but it's setting its own thing. The fan service that is in it, I don't feel is. I mean, there's obviously a good amount, but it's not just constantly in your face the whole time.
Yeah.
There is an actual original story going on.
They're not like taking you and like shit. Like, remember, this is Ghostbusters. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, whoa.
Right? Exactly.
The cold open for this film is amazing.
We don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
You're late.
We were late.
No. Well, I'm gonna spoil it for you when we get to spoilers, because it's fucking phenomenal. It's such an amazing cold open. The ending.
We got there when they went in the house.
Yeah, when they first pulled up to the house.
Wow, you guys were really late.
Yeah.
We were.
It was.
Oh,
And
no.
there was like 8 billion people at the fucking theater too.
Oh no.
Carry on.
So Another issue, I think one of my issues I had with this film was also that they kind of ignored the events of Ghostbusters 2. Even though a lot of people dismiss Ghostbusters 2, they're not as big of fans. And listen, it wasn't as good of a movie as the original Ghostbusters, but it's still part of that continuity, and I feel like they kind of ignored it. They
did. I didn't notice any big references, and yeah, I felt the same way.
I love how they paid homage to, or they paid an homage to Harold Ramis in this movie, and how they incorporated him into the film. Oh man, I did cry. I did have tears rolling down my face at the end of this film. It was beautiful. It's just this movie's fucking great, and no one is going to tell me otherwise. I can't wait to buy this film and watch it over and over and over again, because it's going to be that way. The cameos were great. They didn't throw it in your face. All the the original Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
It wasn't kind of, they were in this movie a perfect amount, in my opinion. They let the new cast do their thing. And then, the original, and then the original cast, when they come in, I think it's a perfect timing.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I don't really have anything else non-spoilery to go over. Do you guys have anything else you guys want to talk about that are non-spoilers before we jump into spoilers? I feel like we're over the 10-minute mark. I think that's a good time to be like, all right, people, if you haven't seen this movie, go watch it and then come back and watch our review on it.
Yeah.
All right. Are you guys ready for spoilers?
Let's hit it.
All right. Spoiler alert. That's your warning, people. So the cold open, which you guys have not seen, so you guys are going to get spoiled too, is it's epic. All right. So we're in this small farm town, and a truck is driving down the road, and it's running away from something. It's driving away from something crazy. You don't see who's in the truck, but he's driving very reckless, getting back to his house, getting back to this farmhouse. And he gets there, and everything is in shadows. You never see this man. Something hits the truck and flips it, and he gets out of the truck, and then he has to run through the corn maze, through the corn to get to the farmhouse, and he has a trap in his hand. He's got a trap, and he's running. He runs to the porch of his house, and he has a control. He's got freaking pillars that run power to. Yeah. There's something underneath the ground, which at the end of the movie you find out exactly what that is. Yeah. But he stands on his porch, and he holds out the trap to whatever's coming, and you don't see what's coming, but you see the footsteps in the ground going towards him. And then he, as the entity that you don't see gets to a certain point, he hits a lever, which starts the pillars. They power up, but then they go out. So his plan is he goes into his house, and he's got a compartment in the floor. He puts the trap in there, and then he sits in a chair and just waits it out. But you never see his face, but you know who it is. You know who it is the entire time of this cold open. It's Egon Spengler. He's living out here by himself, keeping things in order, but you don't know exactly what he's doing. You just know
he's a dirt farmer.
Yeah, he's the dirt farmer.
Dirt farmer had a family.
But my favorite thing is that they didn't show his face at all in this entire cold open. Yep. So when he sits in the chair, it's kind of from it's kind of like a silhouette, and then a cloud forms over him, and it looks like one of the demon dogs. And then and then it disappears, and then it fades down to his hand, and you see he dies. Whatever was there killed him.
Okay. Well, that.
And it cuts, and then it cuts to his which you find out is his daughter and his grandkids.
Which I will feel, without knowing that it happened, it adds a little bit to it, but I don't feel it changed any of the movie.
No, it just
having seen that.
yeah, but it's such a fantastic cold open, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
just the fact that they left everything in the shadows. There was no like, oh my God, this is Egon. No, like you could tell from the silhouette and like the way the shadows were, but you never had a definitive like, oh shit, what's Egon doing?
Yeah.
And of course, the actor who played Egon, Harold Ramis, he died in 2014, so this isn't him. They had to. This was one of the, I feel, the reasons they did it this way, where at the end they kind of give you more of a visual of what he would look like now.
Yeah.
Which was awesome.
Yep.
Which works better in the situation they were using him, because then the effect they have to use for that doesn't look so hokey because of what's going on. So
yeah. So we meet his family. We meet his daughter. What's the daughter's name?
Oh,
no, Callie.
Phoebe.
Callie is the mom. Callie is his.
the mom.
We're talking about. So this is Egon's family. So his daughter Callie, and then her kids, Phoebe and Trevor. Trevor played by Finn Wolfhard of Stranger Things and It Chapter 1 and 2, and other things. And then Phoebe played by Mckenna Grace, who we talked about earlier in the episode. Mckenna Grace carries this freaking movie.
I'm gonna say something.
Go ahead.
It's my opinion here. I actually don't care for the mom. I don't like her character very much.
Yeah, she was kind of extra. And by extra, I mean like she was just a little bit too much like, fuck him, like the whole time without.
Well, see, that was. Oh, go ahead.
Without really any understanding. Like she knew that he left. And then I like how she kind of figures it out towards the end that why he left.
Yeah, why he did what he did.
But yeah, she's such a side. She's like so far down in with all the characters we meet in this movie. She's weirdly far down there.
Yeah. See, my big thing was like you said, I just like until like she really figures out what happens later. She's actually just a shit character. Like I don't really care. I mean, in my opinion, like I don't care for how she interacts with her daughter.
Yep.
Especially later parts of the film. Like I understand that whatever happened, like the relationship she has with or had or didn't have with her dad.
Yeah.
But just the way she treats her daughter, it like passively, like essentially is a passive aggressive way to how she dislikes her dad. She's literally doing that to her daughter.
Well, yeah, because she sees her father in Phoebe.
Yeah.
Because Phoebe is the way that they design Phoebe's look is very Egon. She is a little girl version of Egon. The hairstyle, the glass. I feel the glasses are the exact same glasses Harold Ramis wears.
They are.
So, like, it's very, very much. I feel that's why she is like that. Where Trevor is more like her. So she has more of a close knit relationship with Trevor. Even though I feel Trevor is another character who is like useless throughout this movie until he needs. They need him as something extra. Like, you can drive the car. Like,
yeah. See, my issue is the characters I didn't like was him, and then the one that's going to show up later, but I'll mention it.
Okay. So we meet them. They're she's going on hard times. She can't afford to. I'm guessing they live. Where do they live? In New York?
I'm assuming that's where they lived. I don't know.
They live in a big city. They can't afford to live in this apartment, so they got to go. And because she finds out that her father had passed away, and so they have to go take care of some business there. And she could give a shit, but she's got nothing, so she's going to see what he left her, pretty much. That's the whole reason why she decides to go. And they find out he lives in a small town called Somerville, Oklahoma, which we find out is where the Gozerian cultist Ivo Shandor, pretty much he mined metal there of some sort, which was the metal they used to build the building from the original Ghostbusters, the building that they fought Gozer. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing, people. This is why this links up. So yeah, you find out it's the same place that the Shandor, and there's the Shandor mine and all that, but you find out that he built like a temple for Gozer in this town. But that is something we're going to find out more about later.
Yeah.
And we even get to meet him too. Do you know who he was played by?
I do. I don't know. Yes, I do know who it was. I don't even need to look because I know that actor is J.K. Simmons.
Yes.
I don't need this. No, it was a remarkably short cameo.
Yes, very much. So they move, or they go to this house, and of course we get our Annie Potts cameo as she comes in, and they're like, Callie asks about, like, did he leave anything for me? It's like, no, he didn't. He could barely keep the power on. He's like, oh, she's like, great. So I left to come here to and he doesn't even leave me anything. He leaves me for all these years and then dies and doesn't leave me shitty anyway. Like, well, you continue to suck. Yeah, and they're exploring this place. They find out they're going to be staying there because they got evicted from their apartment, and they're like, great. Also, an earthquake happens, and they just pass it off as just a random event, which later you'll find out it's not because of that. It's because of the reason why Egon was here in the first place.
Yep.
So the funny thing was that Finn Wolfhard auditioned for this film not thinking he was going to get it, because in Stranger Things season 2, I believe season 2 was there was an episode where him and the whole gang, they dressed up as the Ghostbusters.
Yep.
And so he didn't think he was going to get it because of the fact that he had already done something with the Ghostbusters involved.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny.
You only get one shot, man.
Jason Reitman. Did you know that Jason Reitman made a cameo in Ghostbusters 2? The director of this film?
Wasn't he like a kid?
Yes.
At one point in the movie, just like yelling something at somebody.
So Ray and Ray and the fourth guy. Why can't I think of his name? What are all the Ghostbusters names?
Winston? Peter?
Winston. Ray and Winston, they go to the party, to a birthday party, because in Ghostbusters 2, they're like, they're not the actual Ghostbusters anymore. They like broke up because there's just not much going on. So they have to do birthday parties, and a kid comes up to him and goes, "You're full of crap. This isn't real." That was Jason Reitman.
Oh, okay. And lineage, dude.
Yeah, and his daughter, and I guess Ivan Reitman's daughter made a cameo in that movie at the same time.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. So they're staying here in Somersville, and it's really not much going on here. It's just a big cornfield and some stuff in a big giant barn. And everywhere in this town, the old man who lived here was called just the Dirt Farmer. The Dirt Farmer had family. Yeah. I love the hardware store owner. He's like, "You had family?" Well, I mean, he gave me a lot of business.
Yeah.
I was buying
weird shit.
Yeah. Phoebe gets to go to. I was so confused. I was like, "What? Why is Phoebe going to school but Trevor's not?" But then I realized it's summer school.
Yeah.
And I fixed my confusion. So yeah, Phoebe goes to summer school, and her teacher is Gary Gooberson. Is it Gooberson? Gruberson. Whatever. It's still a terrible name. And he's a seismologist, meaning he studies seismic activity. And Phoebe, what?
You don't get that vibe from the beginning. This is a sweet gig. I can tell
right?
These kids are dense. I can show them anything. They don't care.
I love when the kid walks through and he's like, "That kid?" Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's like
he just comes off. It's like you don't know anything about him. He just comes off as just that lazy teacher substitute. You don't know what the fuck he does.
I mean, to be honest, I still get that feeling from him. Like he's a child. He literally, these kids are all in summer school, and he's like, "We're gonna watch a movie today about a dog that catches rabies," and it's a VHS of Cujo.
I know. I was like, I found this gem in the library because apparently you guys don't have DVD players here.
What was the other movie he shows later?
Oh, Chucky.
The
original
that's
Play.
right. Oh, man.
We're in the theater. Like, oh, yeah, good movie.
Yeah. It's like, why? How come when teachers showed movies when I was in school, they did show me awesome gems like that, Cujo and Child's Play. We're going to watch a movie about a doll that becomes possessed by a serial killer and kills me.
Right.
We always watch like Where the Red Fern Grows and stuff
like
that.
Oh my God.
It was all educational.
You want to know what movie I saw the most in school? Was Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl.
Oh, really?
I saw that movie probably 5 or 6 times in school.
At least it was a good movie, though.
Oh yeah, I love it.
I mean, it could have been worse.
Yeah, but it was just one of those things. It was so random. Had nothing to do with anything. It's like, we're going to watch a pirate movie. Are we talking about pirates? No.
Is it historically accurate? Not really.
But the vibe I get from Gary is that he doesn't want to be here either.
Oh, no, not at all.
But I love that Phoebe just walks into the back room and he's kind of just like hiding back there. And she's talking about all the... Like, oh, that map's interesting with all the seismic. Like, do we know what's causing it? And he's like, no.
What are you doing back there? I got a quality movie about a killer dog playing out there for you.
Paul Rudd.
Okay.
Paul Rudd. It's such a gem.
Good.
He's amazing. And that's when also Phoebe meets Podcast. What a nickname for this guy. This little kid's nickname is Podcast. Did you not like this kid?
He's just my least liked character in this whole movie. Like,
I loved him.
I thought he was pretty good. I liked it. I like
especially at the end.
Yeah, Phoebe. I like their relationship. I like their camaraderie. He's the kid who gets her out of her shell because she is very awkward. Just like Egon was. Egon was I remember watching the first Ghostbusters and when you're around people like Peter Venkman, who's just a wisecracking dickhead. And Ray Stantz, who's just a bumbling, he's a very smart guy, but he's also a bumbling idiot at the same time. And then Egon was always straight faced for everything. Even if everybody was telling a joke and everybody got that joke, Egon would just be like, he would come up with some rational answer for whatever joke they're talking about. And that's what Phoebe is. Phoebe, like we said before, Phoebe is literally just a clone of Egon, as a child. Like,
no, I understand. It's just, he's just one of those characters that I think he could have done much better.
I feel like they could have given him a better nickname, like Podcast. Like, come on, it's so unoriginal.
Almost every bit of writing in that whole movie I was fine with, but like I would say probably half to 3/4 of his delivery as on his jokes just fell flat for me. I'm just like, no, dude.
Because
it wasn't even but some of them weren't even bad jokes. It was like supposed to be like funny and stuff, and I did not care for that guy's delivery. It was just like,
yeah,
no.
I didn't enjoy him in every part of this film, but for the majority, I thought he was pretty funny. I liked the relationship he has with Phoebe, but his nickname is stupid. And I mean, I guess this kid's bored. I mean, this is a small town, not much going on. And he's making the best use of his time. That's all I gotta say. I applaud him for that.
He's podcasting.
I will say this though: if you watched that entire movie and you took him out, it would have changed nothing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I understand. I like what he did for her, but like, I just think that I just didn't care for the character.
What are you talking about? He was the tech guy. What are you talking about? You can't take him out because who's gonna drive the little drone car or the little remote control vehicle?
She just hands the gun to somebody else. Phoebe hands the gun to somebody else and does it herself.
Who's she handing the gun to?
There's
nobody there.
They could have found somebody else.
I don't know. I can't agree.
Egon rigged up 4 of them later in the movie with nobody operating.
I can't. Okay, I can't agree with you on that. Podcast is a pivotal part of this film. All right, he's the one who puts the power back on with all the little tiny Stay Puft guys are eating at the power, and he gets the power going so that Trevor can use his proton pack.
I need a tiny army of marshmallow men. I need it.
No, I don't got a problem. Listen, I don't have a problem with the marshmallow men. That's awesome. It's like a Domo Coon.
It's Domo Coon.
Domo Coon marshmallow man.
Yeah. He's gonna hang out.
I love the marshmallow men when they show up later. I think they're great. But they're literally shown tearing apart a proton pack in the film, and then their equipment, and just because he zaps most of them, everything turns back on. It doesn't make any sense. He's not the tech guy. He's a dumbass just because he knows how to do a remote control car. He's useless. Outside of being that character that helps her open herself up, could have been anybody else. He's useless.
We can agree to disagree. That's fine.
That's where I stand.
All right.
Anyway,
that's why we have opinions.
Right.
Even
create your own people.
Right.
If I hide behind Stay Puft, I get it look like he's the one talking to me for the rest of the show. But he's going to stay here. Is this distracting?
No,
it's brilliant. Leave it.
He is. And we're talking Ghostbusters at the end of this week too. So he's going to just stay here.
Yeah. Gotta get Ghostbusters shirt.
Yeah, I do too. Where were we? Oh yeah, we're talking about podcast. Our
Yes,
favorite character of this film.
On a podcast.
On a podcast,
Well,
exactly.
he's making a podcast.
Mm-hmm. And his podcast is he does what? Mysteries? He does like a mystery podcast.
Yeah,
Paranormal,
I forget
the
what
occasional
he's
restaurant
called.
review.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it really came into its own at episode 46, and we're not even there yet on our podcast. So will we be full form when we hit our episode 46?
Yeah, so we're not even at our final form yet, folks.
Exactly. We're still in our caterpillar stage.
Right.
So while all this is going on, Trevor finds the Ecto-1 in the barn, and he is a very handy kid because he gets this son of a bitch working with a little bit of help from a invisible force. Also, I love the chessboards. Like she's got the chessboard and she sets it up and it falls down at first. She sets it back up again, and then the pawn moves while she's sleeping, and she wakes up. Moves. Does she move a piece and then she comes home from school and another piece has moved?
Yeah. She moves a night.
Yeah.
And then
and she yeah.
So hand gestures.
She also
or
finds
was that when it moves.
She doesn't realize it's moving until that night because she wakes up to a piece, she moves a piece, and she comes back and then moves another piece, and then the piece moves while she's there.
And it knocks it off.
Yeah, no, because she takes out one of the other player's piece, and the other player takes out her knight and like knocks it across the room.
So we get Trevor. They have this little diner, this little like burger joint that's in the town, and he literally applies for a job just because he sees an attractive girl. I guess the mind of a teenage boy.
Yeah, exactly. He fills that archetype well.
It's funny that he has a job and his mom doesn't. What a bum.
Yeah. So I'm saying.
What are you doing, Callie? You bitch about you got no money. Your son's got a job. What are you doing? Unbelievable.
Having daddy issues is what she's doing.
Yeah, she's really fuming over her dead dad. But yeah, like we were talking about before, Annie Potts makes the appearance, which I loved. I love Annie Potts. And when does she discover the what the hell is the little device that flashes?
The PK meter or whatever?
Yeah, would she discover that in the room downstairs?
She finds it like underneath
underneath the chair
couch
when they hide under the table during the earthquake.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's underneath the recliner.
Yeah.
I thought that's where the trap wasn't the trap there too?
No, the trap was in the floor.
It is, but I think it's in a section under the floor. Like the chair has to move, and then like there's the wood.
Oh, it was. Oh, right. The PK meter was under the chair. Like it slid it because. So Egon had it in his hand at the beginning of the movie in the cold open when the entity kills him. He dropped the final shot as he drops it, the PK meter, and it slides under the chair. But yeah, she goes over to the floor and does this cool little puzzle trick and finds a trap. And boy, did it feel good to see this trap, because the way that they make the trap look in the 2016 film really angered me. And we'll talk more about that.
I can't wait for that. Yeah. I can't wait for that.
But I'm
really interested to watch that one.
It's but to see the classic trap again was great. And she ends up bringing it to school.
Yeah. and they're trying to pry it open.
Yeah. What is it? And that's when Gary comes over and he's like, "Oh, wow, that's a rad replica you got there." And they're like, what is it? It's like, it's a ghost trap. Like, a what?
Yeah, right.
And that's when he shows the video of the original advertisement for Ghostbusters back in the day, back before they even started, which was great because the funny thing was, it's like Phoebe had never seen what her grandfather looked like. But it was one of those things where she was I feel like when she watched that ad for the first time, she still didn't understand that was her grandfather.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Until she watched, I think it was did podcasts say it to her? Like, your grandfather was a Ghostbuster.
I think so.
Yeah.
I
thought
think maybe.
But yeah, but they really want to open it up. And so they go outside in between two giant school buses.
Yep.
And they're going to open this thing. Listen, what could go wrong, right? What could go wrong?
Right.
And they hook it up to the bus. So when the bus turns on, it sends power to the trap. So when he hits the button, or he hits the little pedal, but it never works. And then he goes up and he is about to tap on it and it busts open. And when you see it, it's a terror dog. It's one of the creatures, one of Gozer's like minions there. What are they called? Are they just called terror dogs?
Yeah.
Demon dogs?
I know what you're talking. Yeah, I don't know what they're called. I had no idea. They say, I think, at the movie, but I can't forget.
Which, when you watch this scene, at least when I watched this scene immediately, I mean, I knew the premise of this movie. I knew who the antagonist was going to be. I know kind of what it was going to be about. But if you didn't, and you see this terror dog bust out of this trap, which is the trap from the beginning of the movie that Egon has, you know who he was facing off against, and you know who actually killed him. It was Gozer. Yeah. And the reason that Gozer was invisible was because she can't fully form until the two terror dogs are in human, like they take a human host, and then they take their place at the temple.
Yep.
It's a whole thing. I thought Gozer was, oh man, what the hell is her name? Olivia Wilde. It looked just like her.
It says uncredited on
IMDb. So it was Olivia Wilde?
So I'm assuming
so. It says Gozer uncredited Olivia Wilde.
What?
But why would they because her voice is a different person.
Well, yeah. So was the original with Gozer. They had an actress. They had a different voice for it. I don't
think it matched very well.
No, it was really out of place. But I didn't know that. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I saw it. I was like, that's Olivia Wilde. That's awesome.
I had no idea who it was. I was like, oh, the Gozer suit looks good.
Yeah. And did you know that Josh Gad was the voice of Muncher?
Yeah, I had seen that. I was like, oh, I didn't know that until we saw it on here. But
Muncher, the Slimer of this Ghostbusters film.
Which I'm glad they didn't just use Slimer again. They used like a different ghost. Yeah, Same concept, but just a different ghost.
I felt like it wouldn't have made any sense.
No, I agree.
Yeah. So I don't even know where I'm at. So yeah, so this thing escapes, and they're like, "Well, that's not good."
Yeah. Oh, we have to get out of here. But you're an adult. Yeah, I am an adult, but I'm also liable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so funny because he drives Phoebe home, and his windshield's missing. It's just picking glass
out of the yes.
And that's when Callie and Gary meet, like really have a good conversation, and then they are going to go out on a date because they have this really awkward conversation. Well, actually, they get there and she's not even home, and they're looking through a bunch of stuff. Podcast finds this weird whistle. It's like the death whistle or something like that.
Yeah.
The Aztec death whistle.
Yep. And Phoebe shows Gary where she found the trap and all this stuff, and he was like, "Oh my god!" Like he's just seeing all these cool things, and Callie's like, "This is all just junk." It's like, you're just a dummy. Did you even look at these things?
What I'm saying.
Oh, man. She did. Yeah, she was one of those. I didn't hate her, but I just disliked her. You know, I was like, can you just open your eyes and like listen to your daughter who is clearly smarter than you?
Yeah, exactly. That was the problem. Is like the thing about it that bothered me was her general, obviously different situation growing up with that being her dad. The general just not giving a shit, about being in that environment, about everything, and her just blatant disregard to her daughter. Don't be yourself. Like, oh yeah, that's cool. That's what I'm gonna tell my kid. Don't act like yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. GG.
Yep.
Parent of the Year award. Anyway.
Yeah.
But thought that's what her daughter told her.
No, she told her daughter that when she went to school for the first day.
No, it was right before Callie goes on the date with Gary that she tells her that. She tells her mom that. Don't be yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, Callie tells her daughter that.
Yeah, I know, when she goes into her school.
That's what I was talking about. I was like, that's fucking rude.
Ridiculous.
Anyway, carry on.
But yeah, so we get Trevor and his newfound friends from the restaurant. They go to the Shandor Mines. They're like up on the top of the mountain, and they're hanging out on the elevator down. Like, what? No, thank you.
Yeah, we're just gonna sit here.
Admittedly, that does sound like something stupid kids would do.
Yeah, that's true. I probably would have done it as a teenager, but
absolutely.
Now as an adult, I'm like, that's a really dumb thing to do.
Yeah.
So they're hanging out up there, but there's something going on beneath them, and you can kind of see a silhouette of one of the demon dogs down in the cloud.
Yep.
When they look down there, and then a freaking, I'm guessing a ghost shoots out of it, and travels somewhere.
Walmart.
Oh, that's right. Because Gary. Oh wait, but we got to talk about so Trevor gets the Ecto-1 working, and he takes it for a joyride through the cornfield, which is actually a really cool shot. I thought this was great. And
I thought this was until late. Wait, hold on. I thought this was until later, because that's when they're trying to find. Because before that's when Muncher shows up. Then he takes for a joyride. Then they meet him on the road and go after.
Yeah, because she goes down to the basement, or she goes to the barn, and there's the pole that goes down into this like basement room below the barn that has all of it's like his lab, and she finds
the PK meter.
Yeah,
it's telling her where to go. Like she's following it.
There's there's something cool I liked at the beginning of that when she had the PK meter in her room.
Yeah.
And way early in the movie, right before the chessboard flies across, you see the lights light up in the background of the PK meter, but they don't bring attention to it, and then the board, and then it turns off.
Yep.
And I was like, yes, that's clever.
It's very cool. She goes down there to this big old room, and all the lights are automatically coming on, and things are happening, and she finds out it's her grandfather showing her the way, because I love the lamp. He's like moving the lamp around since he can't talk, he's using the lamp to kind of show her different things. He shows her there's a proton pack sitting on top of the table. He shows her shines the light on it, and she knows immediately what it needs to get it to work, which I thought was pretty interesting. She gets that fixed really easily, and then she is going to take it out, and she gets podcasts. They go and they're going to test it out first. They go to like this old mill on the outside, and they he sets up cans to shoot at, and just wipes out the thing it was sitting on.
Yes.
Did I get any of them? He's like, it's on fire.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm curious how she got the proton pack out, because it was heavy. Like, she had a difficult time getting it on her back. How did she get it back up that pole?
Well, I mean,
is that the way you get out?
I don't think that's the way you get. There's probably another way out, because you wouldn't just climb back up the pole.
Yeah,
it's not very efficient.
I feel like he made the pole kind of feel.
I know. I'm just saying. I think it was just a nod to the whole firehouse thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Oh. So yeah, she tests it out, and then they hear something in the mill, so they go in the mill to investigate, and there's this ghost. He's munching on some metal. And
that's what I would do. I would just go investigate this noise.
Yeah. She's got the proton pack, and Podcast has the trap, so they're going to try to trap this ghost. And it doesn't work out very well because they make too much noise, and then he literally shoots nails out of his mouth like bullets.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. I'm like, holy shit. And these kids are like super calm. I love how Podcast is like, aren't you scared? She's like, I get more excited when I'm scared, or something like that. Like the way she puts her emotion out there is just a lot different than most other kids or adults. Where she's like, yes, I'm scared, but I don't show it.
Yeah.
I would have been terrified when those nails start shooting at me. I'm just pissing my pants. Like, oh my God.
Like shrapnel and stuff all over the place.
And so they try to chase him out there. It doesn't work out. So they're walking along the road, and this is after Trevor takes his joyride, and he's driving down the road, and they hop in and go. And she tells him about how their grandfather was a Ghostbuster and what this car was. And the freaking podcast is going through all the stuff, and he finds the remote control car.
Yeah.
And they're driving through downtown, which I love this old timey downtown. I would love to visit a place like this.
So it's like where I was from.
Well, yeah. I mean, you lived in the state of corn, where all the corn were.
That's true. I was 2 states north, but yeah, it's very similar terrain. It's just
wait,
flat.
is it? But isn't Nebraska the Cornhusker state?
It is, but we don't make the most corn. It's actually Iowa.
Oh.
Fun fact: we make more alfalfa and soy. We still make a lot of corn.
Figured if you guys are the Cornhusker state,
you think you would think it's Iowa. I know, doesn't make any sense.
But we're in Oklahoma in this movie.
you've been back to Swanton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's towns that, it's a town of less than 100 people. There's like one main road, 2 bars, a post office, and a bank.
Perfect for me.
And you get gas at the co-op.
And you get gas at the co-op. You get everything at the fucking co-op. But no, like literally, like that's while watching this movie, it was quite nostalgic for me because I haven't been home in a long time. So it makes me think of that. So it was cool.
Very cool. So they're driving downtown and they stop at a red light and they look over, and who could it be over there but Muncher? He's gnawing on a fire hydrant. He likes metal. That's all he eats is metal. Because as they're driving through downtown, you see like a stop sign is bitten in half, and there's some other things that he was gnawing on.
Because they hear they hear a call come in. Isn't it through the car?
Yeah, because he's got the radio.
And then they get to town and he's like, "What are we looking for?" And they're like, "Evidence."
Yeah.
And in case somebody watches like, this isn't realistic, why aren't there people out there? Small towns, certain times of day, there is nobody out. There's just nobody on the roads. It's just how it is.
Most everybody's working anyways.
Yeah.
Like, it's the middle of the day.
It's middle of the day, summer,
Yeah.
they're probably not out doing anything.
Mm-hmm. So they're like, well, let's try to get this guy. And this is where they find out that it's got a freaking gunner seat in the Ecto 1, which you never, it was never a thing in the original 2 Ghostbusters. This is a new feature that we see on the Ecto 1, where
it wasn't the cartoon.
Was it the real Ghostbusters or something like that?
Yeah, the one from the 80s, 90s, the early one, the first one. Yeah, but they had, apparently that's what it was from originally. Right. I don't know.
And so they go after him, and she's using the proton pack and destroying sides of buildings, and she even slices some of the sign from what's the restaurant called? Sliders? Spinners. So yeah, they're going through, they're freaking destroying everything. And at first they like have them in the middle of the town, and there's a trap attached to this RC car, which I thought was it's a cool ass trap.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get it underneath him, but the beam breaks, and so they have to chase him down the straightest road I've ever seen in my life, and it goes on for a while, and it's going straight to the Shandor mines.
This is what it's like back home.
Yeah,
there are straight roads that go on forever, just as legit.
And they she gets the proton pack and she shoots at him, and then they get him in the trap, which I thought was great. And it was right before, they got him right before they were going to hit the bridge going to the mine, but they still hit the bridge. They captured him. They smashed the door. It like folds the door back in as they're driving down the, so good. So good.
It's good. Oh, the whole scene where he's driving through the field after he gets the thing, like the Ecto 1 up and running.
Yeah.
That's all 100% practical. They found a plot of land that would work for them, had a team go out and plant wheat before they filmed.
I mean, it looks great.
Just to do that scene. I was like, all right.
It's so good. It's
100%. It's all practical.
It's a fantastic scene.
It is.
And I love how, I mean, if you really pay attention, like when he fixes the car, he can't get the car to start, and you see how like parts are moving on their own. It's because his grandfather's helping him fix the Ecto 1.
The spark.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's the lead to the coil or something's bad.
Yep. But yeah, and so they got him. They got Muncher.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And
Love Munter. Because when they first get to him, his face is like, "Oh no, I've been caught."
Yeah, and he
Like,
slowly
oh.
opens the hydrant,
Yeah.
up.
What? So so they're driving back to the house and they get pulled over.
Yes.
And Charles like, I'm screwed. I don't have my license.
yeah.
So they get arrested. These kids, like how old's Trevor? 17? He said he was 17, right?
15.
He's 15?
He said he was 17.
Oh yeah, when he was applying for the job. So he's 15.
Yep.
How old is she? 13? 12? 12, 13?
I think she's
11. I think it's 11 or 12.
I think they mentioned she's like 11 or 12.
Okay.
So somewhere in that range.
And you're going to
12-ish.
throw him in a jail cell?
Yeah.
That's what they said. Like,
All right. And this the cop is played by Bokeem Woodbine, who has been in a lot of things.
I've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, he was in Kong Skull Island. No. Yes. No.
Yes.
Was he in Kong Skull Island?
I just want to keep the thing going. I'm sorry.
He was in movies. Oh yeah, he was in Spider-Man: Homecoming. He was in Fargo, the show. Oh, he's gonna be in the upcoming Halo show next year.
There it is.
Halo. Dropping in Spartans.
He's been in a lot.
I know he looks familiar. I just cannot think of like anything.
I'm trying to think of like something I've seen him in lately.
It was Ghostbusters. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, there it is. Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that
one.
Oh, what was the movie I just watched?
You watched that.
Oh, that's right. He was Shocker too.
Yeah, Overlord was a movie I recently saw with him. It's like it's a World War II alternate history movie where with zombies.
I need to see that. I've never seen that before.
Pretty good movie. I enjoyed it. The only thing was like he wasn't in it for very long. But yeah, he plays the very over like I feel like he's just bored. He's a bored sheriff because there's probably not much going on in this town. And he finally has something going on, so he's got to be a hard ass.
Oh yeah.
And Phoebe asks she's like, "Don't I get a phone call?" It's like, you're 11 years old. You should have had a phone call.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So she decides instead of calling her mom, she's going to call the number from the original Ghostbusters ad. And where does that number go to? To Ray's Occult Bookstore. And who picks up the phone? But the man himself, Ray Stantz, played by none other than Dan Aykroyd once again. You don't get to see his face, but you hear his voice. No, you do get to see his face in the scene.
I
forgot it's the trick.
Initially.
Yeah, not initially. He
not
picks up the phone and then you hear him talking. And I guess the way that how the Ghostbusters disbanded was not the way they wanted it to happen because Egon took everything and left. And so he pretty much, I love where he's like, yeah, Egon Spengler can go to hell. And then she immediately goes, he died last week. And then like his demeanor changes because he's just saying it because he's mad.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells her about like what he was telling him, like telling her like, Gozer's going to come back. We need to prevent her from coming back. So we need to suppress all of the ghosts that we've caught over the years. We have to keep them at bay because if they come back, then Gozer will come back and destroy the world.
Yep.
But no one believed him because the first two Ghostbusters never happened clearly. When all these things are happening. But, especially when Egon tells you, especially Ray, like Ray and I feel Egon and Ray, like they had such a good rapport, where they could tell each other anything and they were going to believe it. But the fact that Egon would come out and be like, listen, Gozer's going to come back. And Ray's like, nah. Like the fact that
a tornado of spirits or something.
Yeah. Destroy the world or whatever.
Yeah. So she, Ray, as he's trying to get more information, the sheriff comes and hangs up the phone. I'm like, this man, you are just
Time's up.
Time's up.
Yep.
Okay, dude.
So Callie and Gary come back because they were actually they were eating out. They were at a restaurant when all the shit was going on, and then I love it that freaking Muncher goes right over their table while they're eating. Gary and Callie were talking about her, how her dad left and all that stuff, and why she's not huge into science because her dad was big into science, and that's why she doesn't connect well with Phoebe. And I love Gary, such an awesome dude. He's like, Phoebe's awesome. Like,
yeah, I know.
She's so smart and stuff like this. Like, man, good for you, Gary. I wish I had a stepdad like you when I was a kid.
You're taking that step above and beyond.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, they come to the police station, and of course, Callie is pissed. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, they're like, well, they were recklessly driving. They destroyed a lot of property, and they had these, like, whatever the hell this is. He's holding the proton pack up. The female cop is Dan Aykroyd's daughter.
Yeah. We had seen that. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Keeping it all in the family.
Right?
Because the mom is married to the guy that plays the hardware store.
The guy owns the hardware store. It's her real husband.
Yeah, they're married in real life.
Wait,
plays Callie, Carrie Coon.
She plays the guy who owns the hardware store?
She's married.
She's married to the guy that owns the hardware store. The mom.
So Callie Coon is married to that old guy who owns the hardware store.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
You seem disappointed. Are you all right?
I was confused.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's Tracy Letts.
Okay.
He's a stage actor. He's
not even credited.
Yeah, it's down.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's uncredited. Yeah, you're right. He's uncredited.
Why can't I click on her name?
It's so funny though. She was born in 1981 and he was born in 1965.
Hey, whatever they got to do.
But they are married.
Been married since 2013. All right. The more you know.
Any different than mom's dad.
Right.
So.
She was also in. She was in the Avengers movies. She was one of Thanos's cronies.
What was she?
Yeah, she was Proxima Midnight. She was the one with the staff who fights Black Widow and all the female characters in that trench there.
She's one of the Black Hand. Okay, that's fair.
Yep.
Cool. I digs it.
Yep. So they come out and they get the kids out of jail. And of course she's like mostly pissed off at Phoebe, which really pissed me off. I was like, man,
that's what I'm saying.
Damn it. Because
the closest. Oh, go ahead.
I feel the mom is the mayor of this movie. She is like, when you watch the prior Ghostbusters movies, the mayor is always that dim-witted guy who like doesn't believe them at first, but then like it has to take something actually happening for them to be like, oh no, yeah, I believe you, I'll help you type deal. And I feel that's what the mom is in this movie. She like refuses to believe anything Phoebe tells her, even though Phoebe is clearly smarter than her in every way possible. And I feel it's also because she's doing things her grandfather once did, which of course we all know how she feels about her father.
It's the closest living representation of her father that she has. So she's going to take it out on that in whatever way she deems fit, I suppose.
Yep. So yeah, but what we said before, so Egon literally took the Ecto-1, he took all of the equipment from the original Ghostbusters and left, and so pretty much the other guys literally, they didn't know where he went, and so that's why they disbanded and did their own thing, because they didn't have anything, because Egon took it all, but it was all for their own good. He did it not telling them for a reason, because he didn't want to put anybody else at risk for what he was going to be doing.
Yep. He was going to take that bullet, man.
Yep. So after all this, they, Trevor, Phoebe, and Lucky, which is the girl that Trevor is swooning over.
I did not realize that was her name. I don't remember hearing it.
In podcasts, they find the temple inside the mountain, the temple to Gozer that was built by Ivo Shandor, which is behind the sheets. I like how it's you only see like a glimpse of it, and they even go behind it, and you still can't see the whole thing. You only see it
Cool
when
shot.
something is happening and the sheets fly away, which is fun. So yeah, so they go to the temple to see what's going on in there, and they discover how Egon rigged this entire place there's a pit full of spirits, and it's always got like proton pack, like it's got like these makeshift proton packs that are like connected to the wall that shoot into this pit to like prevent anybody from coming out of it.
Yep.
And you have a clear glass casket with with Ivo Shandor in it.
Yeah.
I love that Podcast walks over. He's like, I think this guy's alive, because he's like in perfect condition.
He looks good for being there for 75 years.
Yeah. Oh. So this whole temple is a dedication to Gozer, the original villain in the original Ghostbusters. Of course, this is just showing that she is now the protagonist or the antagonist to this film. And so yeah, so they do this. They find this device, and they figure out that the reason why all these earthquakes are happening is because every time the spirits try to escape and all these proton packs are shooting out, that's what causes the earthquakes.
Yep.
Which I thought was a great backstory there. We also get the Walmart scene where Gary's at Walmart, and I think a lot of people were pissed off about this too, because it was a blatant advertisement for Walmart and for Baskin Robbins. Because Baskin Robbins actually came out with an ice cream that had green like goo on it to promote for this film.
There's actually 2 Avengers references in this movie.
Really?
Yeah, one of him grabbing Baskin Robbins because.
Oh yeah, he worked at a Baskin Robbins.
Baskin Robbins.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And then hang on. I just blanked his name. Fuck. I was Hank Pym. Not Hank Pym. That's the first Ant-Man. What's the second one? Scott Lang. Okay, yeah, because he's Scott Lang in that. Apparently, there's a scene of him where in the classroom he's reading an Avengers comic book.
Oh, very cool.
So
very cool.
2 Avengers references.
So yeah, so Gary goes. He's got to get some Baskin Robbins. He's having a good time, man. He's really excited for this. And how far do you think this Walmart is outside the town?
Oh, I don't know. Probably a mile or so.
Okay. So he goes in there and he starts hearing some stuff. And he goes into the aisle because he's going to get some chocolate syrup for his ice cream.
Yeah.
And he starts hearing something coming from the Stay Puft Marshmallows, because of course we got to bring them back. And what does he see? But little tiny Stay Puft Marshmallow men popping out of the bag. I love it where he's like going to poke it in the stomach and it bites him.
Yeah.
But man, all of the shenanigans of all these Stay Puft Marshmallow little guys is hilarious. Did you see
morbid?
Did you see the one on the grill who melts?
Yes,
and he does that, and he does the thumbs up from Terminator 2.
I didn't see that.
You didn't see it? Oh, he literally melts into the grate, and as he's going down, he puts his thumbs up like like Arnold in T2. So good.
I just like how happy they are about dying.
Yeah.
Like they ran over with the Roomba.
One gets smeared by the Roomba. Yeah,
the Roomba, the blender.
And its face is like smiling. It's like smeared. It's so good.
This was great. And then, so he like gets out of there, and then he hears something, or he goes around and he hears something else, and he turns, and it's one of the demon dogs eating out of a giant bag of dog food. And it's practical, practical effects, which I appreciate the hell of, because it looks identical to what they looked like in the original.
And they look
film.
really well.
So good. But then, of course, it turns into CG when it starts chasing him through the Walmart. I just love it. It's just running through, and he goes through the door, and the freaking thing just smashes through the door. And of course, he gets into his car and he can't get to his keys, which are attached to his belt.
Yep.
And of course, he doesn't have a windshield. So the dog hops on top of on the hood. And of course, we all know what happens to good old Gary.
I love it. Pops his tires.
Yeah. So then we go to Callie, who is at the house. And she discovers the basement in the barn.
With the PK.
Yep, with the PK meter, because she finds it in the chair because her and Phoebe had a fight. and she left it in the chair. So she takes it and she sees that it starts flashing. So she picks it up and does the same little path. It takes the same path as Phoebe to discover this place. And she discovers that her father had always kept track of her. He literally monitored everything she did. And she finds out that he did all this to protect her from something. And which I thought was, I liked how that all went. I really hate that how much hatred she had for him without really any understanding of why. But it was nice that she figures it out. But of course, as she figures this out, she hears some growling in the background. And it's the other demon dog.
Yeah.
And if you watch the original Ghostbusters, you know what happens to these two. They become the key master and the gatekeeper. And you all know, do we know what happens, what these two have to do before they become part of this monument? It's a weird thing that Ivan Reitman and Dan Aykroyd put in the original script of what they actually have to do. They have to have sex to finalize the whole thing before they become, before they can go to the shrine and Gozer wakes up. Is it needed? Absolutely not. Just change them into these things, bring them to the temple. But we get the scene where she the dress, she gets that really like the orange dress, which is the same dress Sigourney Weaver wears in the original. And that's when you see I don't like that Paul Rudd had to become like a caveman. Like it's and he fucking wobbles down there.
Yeah.
And to do something like the reason it worked in the first one was because Rick Moranis' character was already a giant goofball who just was naturally like that. That's why he acted that way when he becomes the gatekeeper or whatever he was. I don't remember which one he was in the original.
I can't remember either.
But I just, it just made me laugh out loud when it literally, he wakes up and he's all in tatters, his pants are ripped and he's and he fucking wobbles down to her. And then of course they do their thing off screen. Oh my God. Oh wait, but we find, actually before all that happens, freaking they come home and notice that she's all messed up in the chair. She's sitting there and her eyes are all red and they're like, Mom? And it's there is no mom. There is only Zool.
Yeah.
and
doesn't it flash between that and then Paul Rudd's character breaking one of the proton packs that are set up to keep it?
Yes. Yep. Because that's kind of what calls her to leave.
Yeah.
Because he's in the thing and he's messing up with one of the proton packs to pretty much unleash the ghosts and set Gozer free. So after she has her encounter with everybody, she busts out of there, her and Paul Rudd do their thing. And then, so that's when Phoebe, Trevor, and Lucky, they all dress up. They got to dress up like the Ghostbusters.
Heck yeah.
They all dress up in the Spangler outfits, which Harold Ramis was a tall dude. I don't know how any of these people fit in these things. But
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
They fit perfectly.
Podcasts, he literally probably fits in half of the outfit.
Right.
Yeah.
So they get into the Ecto-1 and they go up to the temple and somehow they are able to drive right up to the fucking front to the porch of the temple. What?
Right in there.
All right. And they see Gary and their mother up on the thing, and then they see them morph into the dog statues. And once they become part of that, that's when the door opens up in the top of the temple and Gozer walks out. And immediately I was like, that's Olivia Wilde. That looks exactly like Olivia Wilde. And then she talks and I'm like, that's definitely not Olivia Wilde talking. But in the original, it was also played by a different person too. They wanted her to sound like a demon because that's what Gozer is. She's a Sumerian demon. And is she a Sumerian demon or is she called a Gozerian?
Isn't that said that way twice? It's Gozer the Gozerian, right?
Yeah.
She's delivered a Sumerian god or
she's
something
like
that.
Yeah.
So we got Google for.
And I love how Phoebe just she walks up to her and she's trying to tell some really bad jokes.
Right.
What do you call a fish with no eyes? A fish.
And Trevor ends up setting his mom free, which then sets Gozer, like it like hurts her because she can't be whole without both of her dogs. So they run off. And yeah, and that's
you're right. It is. She's a Sumerian demon. She just goes by Gozer the Gozerian as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you are correct. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, so it sets all the ghosts go free. And we get to see like the dead miner at the coffee shop, which is a callback to the dead taxi driver in the original when all the ghosts get set free. It's literally the same model. They just changed him into a different outfit to make it look right. I don't remember were there any notable ghosts?
Not really.
It wasn't like the original, where I feel like there was the dead miner in the diner, and I don't remember really.
Him, Muncher, and then the two demon dogs.
Yeah,
that was it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Parker's a poet and didn't know it.
Yep. So they gotta stop her. So what they do is they do pretty much the same exact thing as Egon, and they trap one of the demon dogs in the. Oh no, that's how they free their mother. They open the trap up and it sucks the ghost of the demon dog or the spirit, whatever it was.
Podcast uses the car.
Yep.
Again.
Yeah, and he drives it away, and then so they are going to do the same thing that Egon tries to do in the beginning of this movie, is they have to get back to the farmhouse and trap Gozer. And Gozer, of course, she's not in her full form because of the dog.
Yep.
So they get back to the house, and of course the mom is all willing to help now because all of the stuff that's been going on. And they get to the house and they do the same thing where they hold out Phoebe holds out the trap, and he tells the mom to hit the switch when she tells her, and she hits the switch and everything starts to work. And you see what is actually going on underneath the ground. The whole yard is set up with traps. And so what it was is those towers, the electrical towers that he's got set up in the yard, powers all these traps. And that was his whole plan, was to contain her in the traps. But of course, we get the same exact thing again, where they blow out and things happen. She drops the trap. She gets the trap, or Gozer breaks the trap, releasing the demon dog spirit, which then takes over Lucky's body, turning her into the demon dog. And then Gozer becomes full form. Phoebe is the only one who has her and Trevor are shooting at him with the proton pack, but the little freaking Stay Puft dudes are somehow got into the Ecto-1 and start eating at the electronics and the back of the proton pack. And so he can't help. So it's just Phoebe. And of course she can't take her on by herself. And then we get the OGs coming in.
Yep.
We get Ray Stantz, Peter Venkman, and Winston. Is it Zeddemore? Zedmore. God, I'm fucking up. Sorry. And they come in, and I immediately was like holding back tears because we've been waiting for this for fucking 30 something years. Thank you, Bill Murray, for being a pain in the ass. Do you realize that we didn't get a movie this late because of fucking Bill Murray?
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all to hear
Bill Murray is a funny fuck, and I love everything he has done, but he's a pain in the ass. He is a pain in the ass. So all the original three are there, and they shoot their proton packs at him, but it's still not enough because I love all the quips that Peter Venkman is throwing at Gozer.
Yeah.
Didn't we send you somewhere?
Yeah.
It's like I knew. It's like like we got rid of you, but you just you kept on crawling back to Peter Venkman.
Yeah. He's so good, dude.
And she overpowers them and throws them back, and so they determine it's not enough, and you think it's going to end until she's shooting at him with the proton pack. And does podcast fix the electrical stuff, which then Trevor shoots before we get Ghost Grandpa showing up?
Yep.
Yeah, because he helps Phoebe with her proton pack, and then the other three are shooting, but then Trevor he gets the bright idea to shoot the towers.
Towers.
I don't think that's till after Grandpa shows up.
So she's shooting.
That's what I said. He was helping Phoebe.
Yeah. So she's doing her thing, and she's having issues, and that's when we get a ghost hand putting his hand on hers to help her out, and you're like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Are they gonna they're not gonna show his face, right?
That's what I figured.
They show his face, and boy, this was fucking awesome. This is some of the best. Like, this man has been dead for 7 years, and they made it looks so good.
It does look very good.
So there was an interview with his daughter shortly after this was released, and of course she saw it, got to see it way beforehand, because it was kind of, had to be approved by the family to use his likeness in this. And of course he didn't look like that later in life. He was a larger man. He also had a lot of health issues. Of course, he died of cancer in 2014. But she stated, like, I appreciated that it wasn't a reflection of him. It was a reflection of Egon. It was what we would have, Egon would have looked like as an older man. And if my dad was here, he would have loved how he looked. Because of course, he didn't look like that,
Yeah,
But the whole family appreciated what they did with it. It wasn't let's have it look like Harold Ramis when he was older. No, we're going to make it Egon Spengler as being older, because we can do that because he's not around anymore. I loved it. It made me cry. I love that they didn't make him talk. He didn't. He says great. No words. It's all facial expressions. Which I literally started tearing up, because it was. I thought it was a really good way of giving him a farewell. But I also loved it when he lines up with the rest of them. Like, they all stand back up and they start shooting at him. And you got Ray, then you got Pete, and then Winston, and then you see Egon come stand next to them and help out. And oh god, I love Winston's face though, like
the realization when they see what's going on.
Like he's in shock. The other guys are in shock at first, but accept it. And I thought it would. I don't know, man. A lot of people didn't like how this all went down, but I thought this was fucking perfect.
I thought they handled. See, I was thinking that this was going to happen, and I'm not some big diehard Ghostbusters fan anyway. But I thought they handled it very respectfully.
Yeah,
by not having him talk, and they modeled it, like you said, after his character, not after himself necessarily. So,
and podcast gets the power back on. Which he tells Trevor like his proton pack is working again, but instead of shooting at Gozer, he has a bright idea of shooting the towers to get enough power to open up the traps in the ground, and then it sucks everything in, destroys everything, and then we get a similar scene to the end of Ghostbusters where the dogs are like solid. And they're like, the people inside are breaking out of them, and Trevor's got to break Lucky out of it, and Gary's getting broken out of it too. And then we get the reunion of father and daughter as Egon and Callie embrace, and as they are, Egon disappears. His job is done, so he is going off to the world unknown, you know, to heaven for religious
That's
people.
crazy after all.
Right.
Then you get that splash thing on the screen. It says for Harold.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought that was kind of nice. Just didn't wait for the credits. They did it right after.
Yeah.
Like,
So good. And we get that's the end of the base movie, right? That was the end.
pretty much.
They
yeah.
didn't do anything after that. And
It's just the scene of it. Well, go ahead.
the post-credit scene or the mid-credit scene.
Well,
Yeah.
it was the top shot of the Ecto 1 driving.
Yes,
over the
and they
bridge
play the
going back to the
Ghostbusters song.
and look at the OG title card.
Yep, which I believe was just I think it's just an original shot from Ghostbusters.
It could be.
I don't think
Yeah,
I don't think
'cause-
it was a newly filmed scene. I think it was literally just a scene from the original that they replayed
good.
again, which was good. And then they play the OG song, which I love that they don't play it until the end. Like you never you
Thank
get
you.
like you get some
Right.
subtlety, you get some subtle sounds, like you can hear it slightly in certain parts, but you don't get it that full blast of Ray Parker Jr. until the end.
yeah.
And then we get our mid-credit scene. We get Peter Venkman
Yeah.
and Dana Venkman. Yes, they're married because in IMDb, that's her name. Her name, yep, is Dana Barrett Venkman. So IMDb says they're married. I'm going to take their word for it. So they're doing the card game or the card trick thing where, this time Pete is hooked up to the machine, and pretty much this is a throwback to the original where Peter is fucking with this guy. He's got a guy, and then he's got like an attractive girl there, and he's hitting on the girl the whole time. And it's one of those things where you hold up a card, it's got a design on it, and the guy's got to guess what it is. And he was guessing right a couple times, but if you get it wrong, you would get zapped.
Yeah.
Well, it's Pete and Dana doing it. Well, Dana's the one holding up the cards, and he's getting them all, and he's getting them all right. And she's like, "How are you so good at this?" And then he determines it's because he marked the cards.
Yeah.
And so she zaps him. Yeah. And then I guess there was a post-credit scene, which I did not see.
I did not know that either.
I think it was, so according to what I've seen on a few videos on the internet, it's a deleted scene from the original Ghostbusters,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Very cool.
which I believe was it was like the end where where Egon and Janine like embrace after the fight in New York.
Oh,
There was a whole other thing with it too. I don't remember.
Okay,
Like
well,
I
fair.
said, I
didn't
did not see what it was. Oh no! So so it says in the mid credits. This is according to Wikipedia. It says while a post credit sequence reveals Winston as a wealthy family man who uses his resources to maintain the Ghostbusters properties, in the final shot, a warning light is shown blinking on the Ghostbusters Firehouse's ecto containment unit. So I guess when I buy the movie on Blu-ray, I'm gonna have to watch that post credit scene.
The cameo there with Sigourney Weaver threw me off.
Yeah,
Because it's like, where was she at in the movie? And then like the next scene, I was like, oh, okay, well this is fair.
I liked it. I didn't think she. I mean,
good.
it wouldn't have made any sense for her to be in this movie more than what she was.
Not at all.
It's the same with
Not
Annie
at all.
Potts.
Yeah, exactly.
Annie Potts made her 20-second appearance, and that was enough because it's like, what would she have done here?
That's true, and that's what I thought. I thought they did a good job. Like there was some obvious nods, homages, like when they're in oh god, damn it, that's Lynn's name. Egon's lab when they go into the pole and do it.
Yeah,
and Phoebe finds the funguses he talks about in the first movie. He collects funguses.
yeah.
And you see a rack of funguses in this thing, which is a good nod to the original. But anyway, it's like subtle references, some not so subtle, but a lot of subtle references. But it's not like just the whole movie. It's not just a 100% like franchise.
Yeah.
Old ass people enjoy it.
Yeah, that's the thing that I loved about this movie. Like a lot of people, like I said, were criticizing it because of the fan service, which I didn't care because yes, give it to me. I've waited for this my entire life.
That's what you do when you bring a franchise back. They
but
do it with
also,
most of them.
yeah, but also they Jason Reitman let these new characters come in and control this movie. You didn't skip the original Ghostbusters until the very end. And it wasn't like if you know, it was one of those things where it's not like they showed up and then like Phoebe and Trevor, they just went to the wayside and didn't do anything. And they're like, we can take care of it. No, they were there to help them. And the reason was it was something that happened earlier in the film when Phoebe calls Ray.
Yep.
It all stems from that. Like it wasn't just let's throw the old Ghostbusters in there. No, well, yeah. It was. I feel this was perfect. I love this film.
Logical progression.
Yeah, I love it. This movie was great. I can't wait to see it again. I'm looking forward to see what they're gonna do with this franchise down the road. I really like Mckenna Grace, and and I know this film was originally supposed to release last year, but because of COVID, they moved it a year, and so she's significantly older now.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, she looked really, really young in this movie. And if anyone out there is a Handmaid's Tale fan, the character that she plays in the newest season of Handmaid's Tale, yeah, she ain't that girl in that show. She's a lot older, and she's still young, but it's a different. She's a fantastic actress. I've seen her in so many things, and I can't wait to see what they do with this character. I like how. And and to be honest, if they make another Ghostbusters movie, that would be the movie where I'm like, okay, we don't need the original. We don't need the original Ghostbusters. Or if you do, you have them be kind of like, the guys that just like hang out at the firehouse. They're like there as support. They're not going into the fight.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that, but the way that they were used in this film was perfect. And I'm excited to see what they do with this franchise going forward. Do we have any final thoughts on Ghostbusters Afterlife before we end this show today?
It's a good movie. You should go watch it.
Very good.
Very much. Go see it in theaters. And if you live near an IMAX, go see it in IMAX. I don't, unfortunately, so I get to watch it in the normal theater. But if you have an IMAX near you, go see this in IMAX because the visuals are fucking spectacular.
Yeah, good practical effects. Enjoy them. Good practical effects, and the cinematography is great. Like I said, I just like it. It looks good.
Angela, you got anything?
No, just it was great. Go see it.
Eat some popcorn.
Yes. So
all the popcorn.
Yeah. So this, like I said, we got 3 shows going up this week. We will have Ghostbusters Afterlife. This will be out on Monday. We're going to have our episode 4, Dexter New Blood episode 4 talk. That'll be out on Wednesday. And then on Friday will be our normal podcast episode where we're going to be talking about another Ghostbusters movie, but an infamous Ghostbusters movie. Originally, when we did The Fly, we talked about how we were going to do a really bad remake. I changed my mind. Because of the fact that Ghostbusters Afterlife came out, I figured we'd do a remake that is kind of torn down the middle when it comes to there are people who love it and there are people who loathe it.
Divisive.
So we are going to be doing the Ghostbusters remake from 2016 starring Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy. That'll be the podcast episode for Friday. And yeah, so we got 3 videos going up this week, people. You're getting 3 videos. Wow.
3 times the face.
Yeah.
More podcasts than your body has room for.
Yes. So this episode, these fresh cut episodes will not be edited. So I apologize in advance if you're listening and you hear a 5 to 6 second pause between certain things we're talking about. I don't have time to edit this episode and the regular podcast for the week. So these are going to be unedited. This and the Dexter reviews. But the podcast at the end of the week is always edited. Maybe I won't. We'll see how it goes. It's all based on our recordings. But we're going to end it there. I want to thank everybody for watching. We are itching closer to those 100 subs on YouTube, so make sure you drop a sub. It's free on YouTube, people. Make sure you drop a like and a comment on this video. Tell us what you thought of Ghostbusters Afterlife. All right? I always tell people to form their own opinions on movies. Just because I love the movie or Dan and Angela love the movie, maybe you didn't. Tell us why. Tell us, your thoughts on the movie. That's what we like. We like feedback, and tell us what you thought of the show.
Because our opinions.
We need feedback for that too. All right, everybody.
Absolutely.
Till next time, I'm Brett Parker. That's DNA Gaming. This is Dissect That Film. This is Fresh Cuts. And we'll see y'all next time.
See you guys.
Bye.